What's up, guys? Welcome to another guide. This one will be very quick. I don't want to take too much time out of your day because this is basically just a super easy guide for Paladin to get into the end game. You can change it however you want afterwards, and stay tuned to the end because I have a very important tip for especially for this build, but overall that will really help you out in your gameplay. Anyways, items don't matter too much. What you really care about, now this one helps a lot. Why? Because it has a lot of attack speed. Then as an offhand you can use a shield. However, all we want is more and more attack speed. The more attack speed we have, the more healing hands we have. Everything else doesn't matter. What you want, the most amount of resistance. You always want to be capped. I will be capped once I'm in combat or like in a combat area, because Holy Aura will give me more resistances. Okay, if you're not going for this build where I am using ward, okay, just get a lot of armor, just get a lot of endurance, and you're good. If you're going for ward, endurance kind of useless. You should never be taking any HP damage, so endurance you can completely neglect. Okay, and armor is still useful for you though. Okay, anyways, the abilities I'm using Vengeance. Why? Because Vengeance make it so I can't be crit for the most part. Okay, as long as I have a riposte, I really can't be crit unless it's like a magic attack. So still you do want to get anti-crit just in case, but this does help you quite a lot. And also you will get a lot of just damage reduction whenever you are dealing damage with Vengeance. Okay, also has a lot of attack speed, 25%, and has a bunch of armor shreds. In some of the boss fights I got to about 40 armor shreds. That is a lot. Okay, that is a lot of armor shreds, 4,000%. Anyways, secondly, we have Holy Aura. There are two versions for this. If you want to go for ward, obviously I do recommend going ward retention. Always play around with Shelter from the Storm if you need more resistances. If you need poison resistances, you can go here. Usually what I do, I go for damage, so I actually go with Flame Burst and Improved Flame Burst, okay, for more damage and as well as fire penetration. However, I tried to go for the ward build, so that's why I had to give up some of my damage. Healing hands, extremely important, okay? Again, if you're going for ward, these are pretty useful. Okay, this one is very useful, okay? On that, we're going for damage. We need a lot of, another stat that is very important, increased healing effectiveness. This is how your healing hands stack. Okay, so we'll go over main stats afterwards, but either way, the most important thing, stacking attack speed. Okay, we have a bit of mana cost reduction, and this is actually something I've been playing around with. This is actually makes it really interesting. It makes your procs for healing hands also cast the melee ability, which also heals you all the time. When I don't use Seraph Blade, what happens is sometimes you would hit mobs and it would be slightly out of the area of the heal, so you're not gonna get the heal. It doesn't happen too often and wasn't really giving me any dangerous situations, but I saw the potential of it being dangerous. Obviously, if you go Blessed Parish, then it shouldn't be a problem, which usually you would go if you don't go ward. I like Lunge. It resets pretty fast because of these two nodes, and it has a maximum kill threshold, which is a lot. Like, it just helps you a lot because, again, you don't do that much damage, so running away from boss and charging at them when they're 15% or lower just kills them, so it saves you some time. And Sigils of Hope, I have really started to love Exigency, or however you want to say it, okay? And you pretty much just try to use it every 3 seconds or so, because it gives you global melee damage, which again stacks with your healing hands. Right then, let's go into the passives. Honestly, the build is extremely versatile. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. Anyways, for Sentinel, the most important part in my opinion is this 30% increased attack speed with swords and axes. Obviously, I want an offhand sword, but if you don't have an offhand sword and use a shield, you don't need this, but then your main hand would be a sword and you can't use the mace that gives you extra levels, yada yada yada, and has up to 53% increased attack speed, which you can also have legendary potential on, and then you can give it another 50% attack speed with some luck. Right, so you can load up the attack speed on both of your legendary weapons, if you're lucky enough to get the LP 2 or above, just for like a better chance. Anyways, so build very versatile. What you really care about, again, wanna maximize your resistances. After that, feel free to play with it. Having armor is good. This one, not a big fan of, honestly, but it's pretty damn good. 60% armor when you're hit, and you're gonna be hit all the time because you are melee. Void Knight, honestly, if you need resistances, I've been playing with this back and forth. Void resistance, physical resistance when my items are not enough. That's why I love Paladin. It's just so easy to just min-max or move things around just to fit your lacking items. Right, same here as well. Obviously this one's necrotic resistance. I took it mostly because increased healing effectiveness and health. Again, attunement is damage. Elemental resistance saves me some time. Okay, saves me the Holy Aura passives, talents. Right, Valor, healing effectiveness, a bit of this, more armor, more damage because I felt like I was tanky enough, so I didn't need it. Okay, and then as well more damage and healing effectiveness. And again, don't forget, healing effectiveness gives you damage. Right now I am sitting at 449. When I have my Sigils of Hope up, right, I will get even more. Okay, so that's, was it 12 times 4, 48, so I'll be at about 500%. Okay, almost 500% healing effectiveness. And then also healing hands grabs healing effectiveness from your attunement as well, so that's another 185. So you're looking at almost 700 healing effectiveness. Also we have the 100% here, so you're at about 760-ish healing effectiveness, and then it translates to 76 times 2, so that's 152. Yep, 152 spell damage for your Bane of Evil. Okay, if I understand correctly. Right, 10% of your healing effectiveness times 2, or basically for every 10% of your healing effectiveness you get 2 spell damage. Therefore 760 divided by 10, 76 times 2, that's how much more spell damage just your healing hands is getting just for the damage. Okay, another thing that is very important about healing hands, honestly, this can help you with very specific bosses. Okay, reduces the damage reduces damage from void enemies and reduces damage from necrotic enemies. Really useful. I use this for the necrotic dragon, but again, you do you, boo. Anyways, build is extremely versatile. Another thing is you can always change vengeance from this build, and it's extremely similar. And you can go for Rive. Rive has better range. It has a shooting ability as well. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but you know, it attacks faster overall because you can get 40 increased attack speed and remove from for the first and second hit, and remove the third hit. Okay, I'm pretty sure Perry the Pig will make a build. His build is actually the Rive build, very similar to mine. I saw him playing while I was already like, we were pretty much in the same zone, so I wasn't copying his build. I swear, I was not copying his build. But either way, that's what happens. And the other thing you can do is, honestly, if you're a fan of multi-strike smite, this build will work for that too. However, you will have to probably give up on the lunge, and then you go smite here, multi-strike here, and you load that up, and you have to change it up. Okay, so extremely easy build to start off with. Grab gear. You can easily do probably up to 150, 200 if you have the gear for it. Okay, all you gotta do is keep increasing the healing effectiveness, fire damage, melee fire damage, attack speed, the more the better. Okay, yeah. Anyways, so let's go over the stats because I'm already starting to talk about them. Okay, nothing. Honestly, strength you don't need. Vitality, kind of useless. 6 health, whatever. All you really care about, attunement. Attunement gives you damage for your fire spells, essentially. Even though it doesn't really say it, but pretty much all your spells scale with attunement. Right, this scales with attunement. Okay, attunement. This would scale with attunement. Fire spell, area attunement. Okay. These guys, if they ever did anything, if you ever use damage for them, it would scale with attunement. Attunement helps you with your fire damage. Get attunement. Also increases your mana. so it's always nice as well. I wouldn't say attunement is your number one priority, but if you like not sure what to put, like it's like I don't really have anything better to put attunement. Okay. If the item you're using cannot have healing effectiveness, use attunement. Okay. And other stats. Okay, still most important by far is attack speed. Now, because I am constantly getting chilled, I am losing attack speed, but this goes to about 130. Okay, especially with my holy aura. Okay. And again, I can get probably to 200 if I get an LP Humming Bee and Renegade's Will, and get a mace with tier 6 or tier 7 attack speed for both, and the sword with tier 6 or tier 7 attack speed, and manage to plug them into these weapons. I'm gonna be at 200 plus attack speed. Okay. Other important stats, obviously, just make sure your resistances are maxed out. Slightly more than maxed out is even better, because it will give you leeway to play around with passives and leeway to play around with your talents, with your skills. Armor as high as you can. Obviously, this is atrocious armor. Okay, dodge, whatever, doesn't really matter. Don't even focus on it. Block, if you're going for that, sure, right? Endurance does not matter if you're using the ward. However, if you're not using ward, endurance is a godsend. Endurance is probably like the strongest thing in this game. 60% of your HP, 60% damage reduction. This is the maxed out. Okay, it maxes out 60%. And endurance threshold, if you get to like 1,000, that means anytime you reach 1,000 HP, you take 60% less damage. This is multiplicatives. This is after all damage reductions. Okay, so get endurance if you're not using ward. If you're using ward, endurance is pretty much useless, because it doesn't work on ward and you're extremely low HP anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, however, in this build, technically it can matter, but it's very hard to focus on that as a stat. I would say you can probably ignore it, but because you have so much self-healing, even though I'll be able to get to about 5,000 ward and almost full HP, you're almost never really out of ward. Like, you never really take HP damage, even though you're like, you get to the point where you're like full HP, right? Either way, personally, I don't have room for warding right now. Maybe once I do all of these guys and I have a bunch of other resistances, maybe I'll think about endurance. But with ward, not important. Right, so critical chance, if you want, doesn't matter. Okay, but the base of it, HP is important, because the more HP, the more damage you can take. And if you're doing the ward build, the more HP, the more ward you will have, because of items like this that reduces your HP, and depending on how much HP you lost, that's how much ward you will get. Okay. Idols, honestly, do whatever you want. HP percentage, armor shreds, vengeance damage. It doesn't, like, I mean, your damage is not really vengeance, it doesn't really matter. Fire damage, yeah, go for it. I use it mostly to like cap resistances that I need. Healing effectiveness, great. Health percentage, great. Fire damage, great. Armor shreds, sure, you know, that's how you get to like 40% armor shred. That's honestly the only reason I'm doing damage, is because I'm shredding bosses like crazy, right? So if you party with somebody, they will love you, because 40% armor shred is massive. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So only thing left to talk about is the tip that I promised you at the beginning of the video, and let me tell you, this is a very important tip. Ready for this? Make sure you are in range of the target you're fighting. And I'll leave you with that. Take care. See ya. Peace.